Hi, Beardos. Joe here, and we can't come to the phone right now because, well, we don't want to. So, leave us a message right here, and we will listen to it as soon as we feel like it. Bye.
Hi, this is Colby, a customer from Ohio, just calling in. Started this week's episode, and y'all sounded really, really angry, so just wanted to make sure you had a voicemail. Just on here, seemed like it was a little lonely and dusty, so here you go. I'll call back later if I have any thoughts as I, get past the first 20 seconds of this week's episode. So, bye. I hope you have a great week.
And welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 16 of Beards and Sundries.
Yay, I can drive.
16 candle.
Driving vehicle.
Losing your virginity on the table.
Under the table.
Okay, well, it's time for another lunch break here at Beards and Sundries, the shop where three gay men with beards do inventory on a new sundry in each episode.
My name is Jay, and my coin purse is low on change.
And I'm Anthony, and I'm just nuts about nuts.
Yum, yum. And I'm Joe, and I think today's topic is just nuts. And if you guys haven't guessed, today's sundry item is testicular cancer. Now, if you weren't aware, April is Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, and since the three of us are Team Testicles, and our very own Jay is actually a testicular cancer survivor, we are using this episode to learn, to educate, and bring awareness to this very important matter. Later on, Anthony has crafted a game for us, and just like Jay, we hope you'll have a ball this week.
Well, Joe, can I find Jay's missing testicle in the sundries aisle?
You can't find his missing one, but you can find the one he still has. And just like his coin purse, his pants are usually unzipped anyway.
Hey!
And guys, if you're new to our show, we're sorry. But if this is your first episode and you're wondering what the hell a sundry is, the term comes from an old English word meaning odds and ends. Now, today it's used mainly in retail as a way to group together items that otherwise wouldn't really have a group of their own. So, as three very ballsy gay men with beards, we're using the term to group together the wide range of topics that we cover.
I have to be honest. Testicular cancer has brought a whole new world of jokes into my life I never thought of. And honestly, I love it.
Oh, Jay, don't be so testy.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, good Lord. So we should probably talk about that voicemail real quick.
Well, thanks, Beardo Colby. You've calmed the beast and you've calmed down Anthony for one more week.
Anthony will be happy for just a little bit longer.
Thank you, Colby. We appreciate it. Everybody else, take a fucking lesson from Colby.
Yeah. Get in line. Get out your phones. It's 405-999-2242.
If you want, you can call and give me a testicle joke for next week. That would be a great opener.
We'd really have a ball with it.
Ah!
We only really have one topic this week, Beardos. A single topic. Not two, just one.
One single topic to talk about. Nothing else. You'll be a little self-conscious about this topic, but then you'll realize, what? It doesn't matter.
You'd be like, I wish we had two topics. But when you really only have one, you'll start to realize things are a little bit more comfortable.
And when you're in the bedroom, someone goes down there and they're like, oh, just one topic.
So, yeah, we're going to kind of get right into it. I pulled up What is Testicular Cancer from the American Cancer Society because I felt like that'd probably be a pretty good place to start. So, we'll just kind of spell it out for you. Cancer starts when cells begin to grow out of control. Cells in nearly any part of the body can become cancer and spread to other parts of the body. Now, what are testicles? Pretty great in my opinion. But testicles, also called testes, a singular testicle is called a testis. They are part of the male reproductive system. The two organs are each normally a little smaller than a golf ball in adult males, and they're held within a sac of skin called the scrotum, and the scrotum hangs under the base of the penis.
Golf balls? What?
God, we're given... This is more sex ed than the entire state of Oklahoma does an entire curriculum.
When you said the size, I immediately put my hand down my pants. I was like, how do I stack up?
I was like sitting there going, I didn't think mine were small, but now they're starting to feel small.
I'm the most popular girl at the mini golf course.
Oh, God.
So the testicles are made up of many types of cells. So for doctors, it's important to know the type of the cell the cancer started in and what kind of cancer it is because they differ in how they're treated and in their prognosis. Doctors can tell what type of testicular cancer you have by looking at the cells under a microscope.
I can tell you, from experience, that this whole like type of cancer situation, it is literally just for testicular cancer, like this spidering tree of treatment options. Because I can't even remember the terms right now, but it depends on if it's the fast spreading kind or the slower spreading kind, and what that genetic makeup is and what type it is, and then it'll tell you how to treat it and how to monitor it after you're through treatment.
Doesn't it feel very, very misogynistic in a way to think of how deeply studied testicular cancer is that we can branch off in that many directions with just that cancer?
I was thinking it, but I wasn't going to say it.
Let me add on to this. Testicular cancer also has a 95% survival rate.
It's the same thought process as how tampons and pads would be free if men had periods too.
Oh, yeah. And the only reason that testicular cancer starts to become less curable is because it spread. And I think if I recall right, my doctor said it spreads to your lymph nodes and then to your lungs is where it next goes.
Meanwhile, for all types of ovarian cancer taken together, about 78% of women with ovarian cancer live for at least 1 year after diagnosis. More than 60% live for at least 3 years, and over 50% of women with ovarian cancer are still alive at least 5 years after diagnosis.
Yeah.
Another victim of the manocentric maleocracy.
The interesting thing, though, I do give them a little bit of credit, is testicular cancer, it's a super easy one to remove. My surgery was literally...
It was a ball.
It was 4 hours because the surgery itself was a 2-hour process of going under, taking out, and waking up.
I remember because your surgeon said that his schedule was just all nuts that day.
Speaking of, my urologist, as much I like him, has the weirdest bedside manner of any doctor I've ever had.
Weird how? Like good or funny or...
He kept putting his finger up my butt.
I was like, what are you doing? My testicle's not there. He's like, it's a reach around, but from the inside.
And then you're like, wait, your hands are on my shoulders. What's that?
I'm going to wear you like a glove, boy.
How many of you are back there? I feel 4 hands on my shoulders. But
clown car. Here comes the balloon animal.
But yeah, he has like the unfiltered jokes of everything. And I'm just like, this is fun, but should we talk about treatment? Also, so the way it started for me was I for a long time had actually wondered if something was up down there, but there was no sign that I was concerned about. And then one day I started getting excruciating pain. So I actually went to the hospital, which this is an unusual symptom. This isn't often seen. And they all thought, oh, you have an STD, because they're just like, you're a boy. And I'm just like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden the doctor, like after all my scans and all came in, and he was like stuttering over what to tell me. And I looked at him and I looked at the screen. I was like, are you trying to say that I potentially have cancer in my testicle? And he's just like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so we need to stop dancing around the topic. And you can just tell me this stuff. I'm not going to panic. I understand people get really upset. I need to know my details.
Yeah, I mean, people get upset, but at the same time, that's one of those things that you need to rip the Band-Aid off of.
Yeah.
You were like, "Are we gonna go balls to the wall?" And he was like, "No, just one ball, but in a jar."
I just want you to grab it by the balls and tell me.
The doctor was like, "All right, Jay, stand up if you don't have cancer." And you stood up, and he was like, "Whoa, whoa, not so fast."
I wish I would have looked at him and I said, "Dude, grow some balls and tell me." And he goes, "So this is a sensitive topic, but
Even more sensitive than the balls. Oh, God, our beer is going to hate us after this one.
basically a week before my pain, I'd gone to the doctor and I was like, something seems up. Like, I feel like one's gotten a little more firm and is swelling." And my doctor, she was like, "Nah, I don't think anything's wrong, but you know your body better than me. And everything you've brought me in the past has resulted in an issue. So I'm just going to trust you." Ended up being right. And then I laughed because when I went into the urologist the day that my appointment was, he literally goes, "All right, drop your pants." And he goes, "Cup, cup." And he goes, "Yup, that's cancer."
Wow.
And I was just, I just sat there and I was like, okay, so there's no more tests.
You were like, "Are you sure?" And he was like, "Nah, sir, this is an Arby's. You need to get the fuck out."
He said, "Wait, first taste test."
I was actually supposed to measure your inseam, but that's cancer.
Sir, this is a men's warehouse. Taste test, Anthony.
Oh, gross. He's like, "That's way too salty. That's cancer."
He was like, "Why are you so salty?"
You know how they have those cancer sniffing dogs? It's sort of like that. Except it's a cancer tasting Arby's employee.
After a lick, he's like, "That's not chicken strips."
He said, "Could use some Arby's sauce."
Horsey sauce.
I don't know. I was about to say, I feel like I could use some horsey sauce.
Fresh squeezed.
But you know what on special right now is our chicken salad. So dip it in that.
It's usually made with 2 hard-boiled eggs, but we only had 1.
So it's light in the balls.
It's not soft boiled anymore.
Oh my god. That one's extra hard boiled, boy. You need to take that out.
We didn't dye those on Easter.
You know how white people make their chicken salad with grapes? This one only has 1.
One whole grape, not even sliced.
Oh.
After he cupped him and just immediately went, "Yep, that's cancer." He goes, "But I should verify, but I'm also going to schedule you for surgery." And so basically we scheduled me a week from that appointment for surgery, and I had to get blood work in between so he could confirm my tumor markers.
So then what happened next?
So then, literally a week from the day that I was diagnosed by the doctor, I went to the hospital and got my IV and gave me a cocktail of pills. And I said a lot of stupid things because they asked me about piercings. And I said,
I can't believe it.
I know, I get even worse when I'm on medication.
Oh, no way.
And surprising, right? And she's like, "Do you have any piercings?" And I said, "Nope. There's no Prince Albert down there."
Yes.
And
did anyone video this at all?
No, but my ex at the time was so embarrassed. He was like, "Oh my god." And I was like, "What's the matter?"
Joe, I would be so proud of you.
The fact that I remembered what it was called, I was just like, look at me.
They're like, "Do you have any Prince Albert in the can?" Like trying to prank you, and you're like, "No, not even on my deck."
There's no Prince Albert down there.
You got any more pills I can take?
You're like, "Put me under so you can give me one."
Did you give me a Prince Albert while you're down there? Because I didn't sign off on that.
We're gonna remodel the whole thing. I've got good bones like on HGTV, but we're just gonna do a total gut job.
And they're like, "No, we're actually going to repossess this testicle."
You didn't make the payments. They bring in a tow truck. No!
Oh, Lord.
So, how long was the surgery?
If I recall correctly, it was somewhere around an hour and a half to 2 hour surgery because it's really interesting. They do, to go, yank your testicle out, they actually do an incision.
They bring out the Dyson.
on yeah, the pet Dyson, of course, because I'm hairy down there. But they do an incision on your belt line that's about 6 inches long.
Really?
And it starts kind of just to this. Well, mine was on the right side, so it's kind of the right side of the penis, but on the belt line, and then 6 inches along, and they go down that path and pull it out that way. Because allegedly, I think my understanding was going through the scrotum, you can then get scrotum cancer.
Oh, that makes sense, actually.
Well, and they probably had to like unplug the HDMI cables and all that shit down there too as they brought it out, right?
And since I'm an 80s child, there's still like several more cords because HDMI is new.
Yeah, the red, yellow, and white ones from like your Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
We got the audio cables down here. You got to take those out too. Make sure you turn it to channel 3 while you're in there.
You're truly an old person at heart. So there was like actually like an antenna down there that they had. There was like a clothing hanger with foil wrapped around it, and they had to adjust it before they could take it out.
Oh my God.
And they're like, yeah, this is the location. We got a good signal now.
They said, hey, here's an original copy of Duck Hunting here.
And they and they kept turning my nipples because they were just like, we got to get to the right channel. Click, click, click.
Come in, Tokyo. Come in, Tokyo.
He's like, ew, no, golf is on. I wanted football. Click, click, click.
That does, now that you say golf, that does bring up a subject that I really wanted to talk about when it comes to the removal of your testicle. Is that what your urologist uses as a golf ball now?
Oh, man, what a power move.
Right?
He's like out there playing golf, and he's like, look, a new one. He's kind of small. This isn't golf ball size. And then he's just like, 4.
And then like, well, it's shaped like a football though, so it'd be rolling like all over the place like an egg instead of an actual
Yeah,
ball.
and what sucked is mine had a tumor on it, so it doesn't even roll well because it has this little bump.
That's the fun.
So fun.
You only play this version of golf with other urologists.
Oh my God.
It's on ESPN 8.
The Ocho.
Oh.
I wish I would have talked more about this, and I could have sold it to like KU in Kansas for money because they could have researched it. I should have looked into it, but a lot happened very quickly.
Well, yeah, you were in surgery within a week.
One day you're walking along and you're like, I'm fine. Everything's great. And the next day I'm like, I have to go to my boss and be like, I gotta take a few days off. I have cancer. and then I feel bad.
How would you feel bad?
I walked into her office and I was like, so my doctor's appointment didn't quite go as planned yesterday. I have cancer. And then like me back then,
She's like, whoa, what the fuck?
I felt bad because I could tell she was ready to cry. And I was like, no, you can't cry. It's fine. I'm fine. And I kept it very quiet because I didn't want to go around work and I didn't want to be that guy going, I have cancer. And so I just didn't talk about it.
I was actually going to ask you if once you knew that once you got to a point where you felt more comfortable with it, did you ever just drop it just to kind of pull it as a power move? Oh, that sounds really bad. I had kind of a bad day too. I've got cancer.
Okay. I did do that. It dawned on me. I totally forgot I did this. I got a phone call because I was trying to cancel a membership for doing it was like a tanning place. I was going to do spray tanning that summer.
You were going to do tanning after all those chat piles, Jay?
I didn't know about the chat piles.
You were gonna do tanning after getting cancer? Just stick your balls in the microwave, Jesus.
I canceled it the week of I was waiting to go to my surgery, and then they called me and they're like, hey, we noticed that you didn't even use this. And I said, I was on the phone in Target and I didn't really acknowledge what I was doing. And I was like, yeah, so I was diagnosed with cancer and I thought that's the last thing I should spend my money on.
At Target. This is so on brand.
I'm in line at Target, and then I didn't really acknowledge what happened until people looked at me and I was like, oh man. And she's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, it's no big deal. It seems pretty early, but I do have surgery next week, and I feel like during COVID times and all, I should probably stay away from places with people. As I'm in Target.
As you're at Target.
Maybe I just shouldn't be zapping myself with radiation as much in the middle of a pandemic while I have cancer.
And she's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, don't be. It's fine. Like, don't fret. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to get sympathy. I just stating my exact reason of why I thought maybe this isn't a good idea.
I feel like if I got to a point where I felt like I was comfortable with the diagnosis, I would do it way more often.
The interesting thing is I don't think I never had an issue with the diagnosis. I was not really afraid to talk about it. Like, I was very open, and people would ask me details about, my experience and how I knew and all. And I have no issue talking about it, but I didn't want people to go through that whole like shock and sympathy of being like, I'm so sorry. And I'm just like,
because it's over and over and over again.
Yeah. And I said, I don't want to deal with that because I feel like that's actually going to make me start worrying about this. So I just didn't talk about it. As a matter of fact, I had the surgery, which was an outpatient surgery. I was told to not go to work for 48 hours. And then when I got back to work, like all the muscle along my belt line's been cut. So I'm like limping. And at one point I was in my friend's office and talking to her, and then her boss popped in to talk. And so I got up to leave and I limped away, and she's like, okay, you old man. And I was like, well, I just had surgery. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
She was like, just carrying this giant old schlong around makes it hard to walk.
This dick's weighing my back down.
I'm a little off balance now. I got to get used to it.
I just got diagnosed with BDS, big dick syndrome. It's real fucking severe.
It's chronic.
I just got my PhD, as Tony and Ryan say, pretty huge dick.
She said, my illness is chronic and this ass is iconic.
Oh, Lord.
From the time of your diagnosis to the point where you were effectively in remission, what was the time period for you?
So after my surgery, my tumor markers fell and I was back down to normal. So I had surgery in June, and I think August is when my urologist was like, your numbers are down, but I'm terrified that what if you have a reoccurring kind? So then he contacted my oncologist, which I went to him, and he was like, all right. So he went down because they did the study to find the makeup of my type. And I mean, they spit out so many medical words that I was like, I don't know what any of these mean. I'd have to go pull out my paperwork to remember them all.
Like, I still don't have a Prince Albert.
Yeah, still haven't got it. They didn't do anything but take out a ball.
Bastards.
But my oncologist, I think he said I had a 20 to 40% return rate.
Honestly, like ROI wise, that's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
But, which is annoying because my brain did the exact same thing. I was like, that's actually a pretty good amount. And then I was like, wait.
You guys are stupid.
So, it recommended 1 to 2 cycles of chemo. And he was like, I think 1 cycle would be absolutely plenty for you. And a cycle is 3 weeks. So in September, I started my 3-week cycle, which the makeup of mine was interesting. The first week was like 5 days in a row of 8 to 9 hour infusions.
Wow.
Ugh. Yeah. I'm literally, my stomach still churns because this was the most disgusting feeling I think I've ever felt. But that was a brutal week for sure.
I hear that if you are undergoing chemo, the worse your reaction to it is, the better that it is. Like, the more indicative that it is doing what it's supposed to do.
It's funny, like, after the first day, I was like, oh, this is that bad. But then by like Friday, I had steroids every day. I'd been there 8 hours every day. And every day I had I had to go through 3 different medical treatments types, including being like pumped full of potassium and stuff like that, because you have to be extremely hydrated before you can start taking these meds. And I think I had to have a home health nurse going through treatment, because instead of doing the full port in my chest like most people do, we did a pick line in my arm, because he's like, you're not going that long. I would feel bad doing a full port for just 3 weeks. The pick line, whole another story that I'll get into on the side tangent. But so I had to have a home health nurse that would come check and change the bandage on my arm. And when she checked my blood pressure on Friday evening, it was like 158 over 102 or something like that.
Amateur.
I know, but that's high for me.
I was like, I've been higher.
I had ringing in my ears and stuff like that, and it was terrible. And I kind of lost my appetite, but it only lasted like 3 days, and then I gained 30 pounds over the next 2 months because I was at home and I couldn't leave. COVID kept me everywhere, or kept me from going anywhere.
Even the tanning salon.
Fucking right. Sorry, ma'am, I have cancer.
They're like, well, are you sure you want to cancel?
Schwann's shows up at your doorstep. That'll be $50 and some odd cents. Oh, I have cancer.
Oh, God. I hope I can afford this. My cancer's expensive.
Oh, well, don't worry about it, sir. Okay, well, can you double the order then?
Well, in that case, I'll take 8 extra pizzas. Oh, man. But yep. So that was the excitement of that. And honestly, from June until September, I had this weird depression. It was survivor's guilt because, for example, my mom, back in the late 90s, she had stage 4 breast cancer and survived it.
Wow.
And I remember months and months and months of treatment for her and how brutal it was. And I felt really guilty that I went in, had surgery to take the ball out, and then I was fine. And so it was almost bittersweet that I had chemo in a way, because it made me go, okay, at least I'm going to understand a little bit of suffering and not just get by super easy. Because in that case, I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm a cancer survivor, and then be like, literally, I went in for a 2-hour surgery and I was done. Like, it made me feel guilty. I still can't even explain it.
I get what
to
you're
this day
saying as somebody who is like a chronic people pleaser. So I understand it. But at the same time, like, Jay, I've never had cancer. I've never had to deal with any of that. I've never had an illness where I was like, ooh, that is life-threatening in an immediate way.
I just felt weird that I got out so easily compared to other people. And I still feel utterly blessed that, yeah, I had a substantially simpler process than most cancer survivors do.
And Beardos, that's exactly why Jay got the tattoo #blessed on his remaining testicle.
Oh my God.
Ow. Oh, imagine.
I think I'd rather get a Prince Albert.
Well, we got a surprise for you, Jay. Just kidding.
Oprah walks in. She's like, you get a Prince Albert. And you get a Prince Albert.
They kick open the door with a battering ram. Get him.
Do you remember those Pontiacs we gave out back in the late 2000s? You're not getting one, but we're gonna get your dick.
Oh my God. I'd rather have an 06 Pontiac.
Yeah, I'll take an old Pontiac GT.
And now for a game I'm calling a forceful Prince Albert.
Jay's the loser this week, Beardos.
We've positioned 5 heavily armed men outside of Jay's house, each also a tattoo artist / piercing expert.
No, it's just a part-time girl from Claire's. A part-time 16-year-old working at fucking, I don't know.
We've positioned 5 Claire's employees outside of Jay's house with the piercing gun.
They've just gone through orientation and they're ready to pierce.
And instructed them that whichever one gave Jay a Prince Albert first, we would give them $1 million. We don't have this money. We simply lied.
$1 million? Bitch, move. I'll do it.
And then you're like narrating it, and then you see Joe and kind of the above camera, and he's like, "Move, bitch!" And he's like,
I'm imagining it in that first person camera perspective where they're like chasing you through your house and like, oh, now he's running down the hallway. Oh, he tries for the guest bathroom, but it's locked.
"Oh!" And they got his pants off, but his underwear's still on, and the race is still going.
Got him.
God, he looks terrified. Oh, we can't see him, but you hear that scream.
For some reason it sounds like a dentist drill, but
you'll know the piercing scream when you hear it, and then you hear this like almost inaudible high sound.
It's like on SpongeBob when Patrick goes to the trombone. He's like, "Ooh."
The camera changes and all my windows start shattering out because of my scream.
Oh my god.
And the piercing's done. Who's the winner? And like there's a...
It looks like it's Braylon with a Y, but you wouldn't guess where the Y goes.
There's like blood splattered on her face, and she's like, "Yeah!"
She's got like a bandana, and she's like, smoking a cigarette outside her mouth.
Also, I need you to know that it's kind of like a country theme playing in the background on the banjo. It's like I'm running to the house. I had to like tie up my legs.
Like you come out and there's a tag on your ear like a cow.
Yes. They put like the full like thing around your ankle like they would a crow.
Then at the end, I'm standing up and like my crotch is blurred out, my feet are tied, but you see blood running down my leg, and I'm like in excruciating pain. They run up with the microphone. They're like, "Jay, how do you feel?"
And I hang a Christmas ornament on it.
It's fucking Sherry O'Terry. Jay, your ass looks fat.
If Sherry O'Terry like was on that show, I would probably be like, maybe I'll think about this.
That would be your deciding factor.
I believe it too.
That was probably one of my favorite side tangents we've ever had on this episode, on this show.
Before we go to commercial, I did want to touch on one last topic, and that's how to test yourself at home. So, a testicular self-exam, I pulled it up on American Cancer Society's website. It's pretty simple. So, it says here the best time for you to examine your testicles is during or after a bath or shower when the skin of the scrotum is relaxed. So, to do this, it says to hold your penis out of the way and examine each testicle separately. Hold your... Anthony is demonstrating on camera. Haha, gotcha. And then our YouTube subscriber base jumps by like 1 million. So then it says to hold your testicle between your thumb and fingers with both hands and roll it gently between your fingers. Now it says to look and feel for any hard lumps or nodules or any change in the size, shape, or consistency of your testicles. And that's how you do a self-test.
Oh my god, not another one. No, I'm kidding.
Jay.
Sorry. I'm all sweaty still from laughing so hard.
Yeah, laughing, sure. Okay. All right. So that's it, guys. Just be aware this month. It's Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. And we love that Jay is still with us because it made this podcast possible.
I'm still glad I'm here too.
I actually don't think this podcast would have been possible without testicular cancer.
That's actually a really good point. I will say that I was a different person before testicular cancer, and then
Mark
sitting
Simpson.
there.
It's true, but he shouldn't say it.
on that last Friday of my week of chemo, I like sat there and I was like, "You're always stressed and unhappy. Like, you have nothing to look back on. What if this was worse?" And so suddenly...
You woke up in the hospital bed and just, I gotta start a podcast.
Then I looked down and I was like, "Where's my Prince Albert? I paid for that."
Episode 1, Vivica Fox, go.
Quick, scroll through your phone really fast and then push a contact, and whoever it lands on, I'm starting a podcast with them.
I love you. Then hang up and call him back and ask for a podcast.
So, there we go. Info, story, background about all of us. Fun times. But, you guys think it's time for a commercial?
before we go, you are more than welcome to email us if you ever feel like you just need to talk about these things, because I am happy to discuss it in any way, because for some reason, men now look at me and they're like, how did you know? That's the question I'm asked the most. And they're like, I had a car repair guy. Somehow the topic came up and he was like, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how did you find out? And I was like, well, I was testing my testicles. That's hard to say.
A car repair guy? Jay, I've seen those videos. I know how that all starts.
I know. I thought that's how it was going to work out.
He was under the car on the little dolly, and you walked up to him and grabbed his penis, and you're like, hey, you want to know how I only have one of these now?
As he was asking me, he was like leaned over the hood, and then all of a sudden he was talking, and he like kicked his leg up.
And his pants fell down.
You were like, well, your leg may be up, but my something is I don't know. Sex joke.
Insert sex joke here.
Well, now that we've covered all of that, thank you very much, Jay, for all of your story about your experience with testicular cancer.
Yeah, be aware, guys. Check it out. Don't be afraid of it. You go get yourself checked if you worry.
Exactly.
Well, now, I think it's time for a commercial.
Yes. Who's our sponsor this week, Anthony?
And now, for a word from the Beards and Piercings Prince Albert Special Market.
Is your penis looking drab and boring? Do you just blend in with every other penis in your town? Try something new. Try the Prince Albert piercing. We've expanded at the Beards and Sundries Market. We now offer the Beards and Piercing Prince Albert Special Market. Find your best look with just a quick pinch from an old piercing gun we stole from Claire's at the mall on 79th Street. So allow yourself to get hooked on your next hookup. Let TSA know you could be a risk, or you have a penis piercing. Remember, your penis is as fashionable as you are. What should your penis say about you? Hey guys, make sure you follow and subscribe to our podcast so you can receive a notification every Sunday when a new episode drops.
You know, I felt like it was a holy experience at the Beards and Piercings Market.
It really put the spirit all the way through me.
I screamed with excitement when I found out we were getting it.
I screamed, but it wasn't excitement. I thought to myself, do I want to feel like I'm peeing glass for 6 months? Yes. And now my freshly squeezed lemonade looks like strawberry lemonade. Somebody call Shasta because I'm making my own tiki punch.
See, for me, it's been nice at the bars after visiting the Beards and Piercing Prince Albert Special Market. At the bars, I'm like, hey, did you ever use Hooked on Phonics as a kid? Well, now you can get hooked on this dick.
I never forget my car keys anymore.
I didn't think that after 45 minutes of testicle jokes that I would not laugh at a dick joke, but there it is.
I just thought I would hang it up, but I mean, then I'm not tall enough to reach the coat hanger.
I just love that I cannot go through a metal detector without gaining attention.
Oh, after last week's episode, it makes me kind of anxious.
Well, Jay, do we have any Beardo submitted content this week?
Oh my gosh, guys, we actually have a little bit of Beardo submitted content this week. I'm going to start out with a voicemail we got. Are you ready?
I am ready.
I'm always ready for a voicemail.
This is referencing last week's episode.
What up, nerds? It's Colby from Ohio calling back. So I called at the beginning of the episode because you very clearly needed a voicemail, and so I'm sure this is lost in all your followers who are calling now. But
Are they?
I just need to know what your Venmo is because I kind of owe you my therapist copay this week. So just canceled that, and so let me know where I can send that $20. I'd really appreciate it. Particularly Anthony with the thought triangle.
I am loaded.
So that's going to keep me pondering for a few weeks. So thanks again for putting out such a wonderful podcast.
I stole the thought triangle from my intensive outpatient therapy I did a year and a half ago when I had a nervous breakdown.
Let me just say right here and now that we are not board certified therapists, but we are always happy to lend an ear and an armrest.
And a coping mechanism.
And a voicemail box.
And we're funny.
Most of us are funny.
Sorry you're not funny, Anthony.
Ooh, yeah, sorry, Anthony.
I have my episodes. It's fine.
I have my episodes.
Any emails in our inbox, Jay?
Yes, we did have an email, and it's from Derek. And Anthony, this is a little bit guided towards you. And he said, I ran across this meme the other day, and I had to share it with you. And it says, hear me out. The Craft, but it's a coven of witches getting together to eat mac and cheese, and it's called The Craft, with a K.
What's the... that shirt, Anthony, what is it on the back?
It says, yeah, I practice the craft, and it's Firuza Balk with her crazy
And
face. She's like, but it's like
she's making that crazy face she makes
with a Kraft mac and cheese background, and it's really fucking funny. And I keep meaning to buy it for Joe and I, so that because like it's a really perfect melding of our interests.
It's perfect.
Thanks, Derek. That is really topical, and
Yeah, it's nice that we have somebody that's paid attention this long to laugh at those jokes with us. So
Hell yeah.
thanks. We appreciate that. Also, some longtime listeners that we're really happy and proud of is George and Anthony from San Antonio. They closed on the new house.
good for them.
Congratulations.
Congratulations! That's so exciting.
Yeah, we're really happy for you guys.
You'll have to email us pictures of the new place.
Ooh, yes, send us new pictures. We'd love to see them. And then the last thing was just a quick comment. Monday, I posted a TikTok, and it was us last week talking about a child going through TSA with Play-Doh and getting body slammed. And we had a guy named Isaac that was like, I'm so glad this is the first TikTok that introduced me to this podcast. I immediately went and subscribed to you on Spotify. So welcome.
You've come to the right place, Isaac.
TikTok is how I found quite a few podcasts, so I'm glad it's working for others.
And I'm glad that was the trigger.
Well, before we move on to our game and a special topic that I have just for you, Beardos, does anybody have something to check out?
I do. So, because we talked about testicular cancer, blah, 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 I decided that we would check out the Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation website, which is literally testicularcancerawarenessfoundation.org. And my favorite part is when the very front page is two hands holding two, like, nuts, and one's cracked open, so that's kind of funny to me. But besides that, anyways, you can donate to help support against testicular cancer. They're proud to be the leading testicular cancer organization across the United States since 2009. It's a nonprofit organization, and then they also give you guidance on self-exams and and they describe it pretty well and give you a lot of information and a lot of stories. So I think if you're concerned or interested, it's helpful. Keep in mind that testicular cancer is very common from age group 15 to 35. I think over 50% of men that are diagnosed are in that age range. So just for me, it's something beneficial to at least look at if you're ever concerned. And again, if you feel like talking to somebody, please don't hesitate to email us. I'll be happy to respond and give you advice.
Well, before we move on to our game.
Yes, Anthony? There's something you want to talk about?
Yeah, Anthony, what? What? Tell us.
I would like to introduce a segment that I am calling Beards and Cinema.
Beards and Cinema?
Beards and Cinema? Why, Anthony? Did you watch something?
Did you watch anything good?
This week's segment is called Beards and Cinema, The Birdcage.
Are you going to stay in your Nathan Lane?
Oh!
Ooh!
Not last weekend, but weekend before last, I watched The Birdcage. First, very drunkenly at Jay's place, where I only got to like maybe halfway through it before I was like, deuces, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, you went to bed, and I was still forced to finish it, even though I was just as tired as you, so I made it.
Well, because your boyfriend forced you, and my husband knows better than to try.
Right.
You're right. And I did it, and I liked it, and I enjoyed it because it's one of my favorite films.
So the next day, when we did get back to the house, I watched it entirely sober because I wanted to watch it in its like full glory. And overall, I really enjoyed the film. I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. And it reminded me how boring the son and his fiance are. Jesus.
Oh my God. They're the worst parts of that film.
I can't stand them.
Their performance was so dry. I mean, maybe it was supposed to be. They were supposed to be bland and boring, but good Lord, Callista Flockhart, you bag of bones.
The parents held the show. All the parents held the show.
My favorite part was how he was starting to get a crush on Nathan Lane as the mom.
Yeah. She's a wonderful woman.
So as we were watching it, one of the things that I really, really enjoyed was the suspension of belief when it comes to Nathan Lane's character as the mom, not just as a drag queen, but as he's playing the mom in the very last little bit of the film. For us, the viewer, we see him as definitely a drag queen. Like, we know he's a drag queen. But if you are in this situation that Gene Hackman and his wife are in, I can't remember the actress's name. What's her name?
Diane Wiest.
Diane Wiest. That's right. That Gene Hackman and Diane Wiest are in, you wouldn't question it. Like, it just wouldn't be a thing. He wouldn't have been masculine appearing enough for you to question it. You would have just been like, oh, this is a woman.
Some women have a 5 o'clock shadow. That's fine.
I just really fucking hated the kids. I really hated the kids the entire film.
And you know what? I support you on that because for some reason, I do not enjoy the scenes that the kids talk.
Yeah.
At all. They suck.
They
suck. But then, like, Gene Hackman, Diane Wiest, Nathan Lane, Robin Williams, what's her name?
Christine Baranski.
Yes.
I want to talk about her for a second. When she first calls because she's stuck on the drawbridge and she's going to be late, was the drawbridge up for like 6 fucking hours? Like, it took her forever to get there. And she never called again? She just never called again.
That's another problem I have with this film, is that most of the film's events, the bulk of it, take place from sunrise to the evening.
That's true.
It only takes place over like maybe 3 days total, with like the opening night and then the sun getting there and them driving all the way from Ohio to Florida, which, oh my God, what a boring drive.
Sorry, that song sticks in my head because it was just so kind of quirky.
I just get the feeling that most of the preliminary events are only there to set up the bulk of that day.
Yeah.
Where
for sure.
Robin Williams' character is like, I'll get rid of Nathan Lane, like I'll send him on his way.
But the scene that lives in my head is when Nathan Lane gets mad that he walked in on Robin Williams and Christine Baranski, and he's like, ugh, and he leaves, gets in the car, accidentally honks the horn. He's like, in my brain forever.
So that is another scene that drives me insane, because I felt like there was a portion of that scene where it kind of implied that Robin Williams' character was very like bi or pan, and that somehow his character was more masculine because he had an attraction to women. And maybe I'm jumping to conclusions, but just from an outsider's perspective, watching it for the first time, I was like, this feels very like if Nathan Lane's character was in the same situation, it would not have happened this way.
Well, I'm also thinking about the son and how problematic he was. Imagine being in his position where you have a birth mother who's out of the picture your entire life. So then you're raised by a bisexual man and his husband, who is a drag queen, and you grow up to be that boring and intolerant? My God. Like, did he just go to college and forget everything?
So the other part of that, though, is that it is not ever said what Robin Williams' character's sexuality is, though it is implied that he is a gay man, because specifically the interaction that he has with Christine Baranski later on in the movie, it basically implies that was a one-time thing with a woman. He just wanted to see what all those straight men were fussing about, literally in his own words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the implication is that he is a gay man. And so the scene with Christine Baranski later on, where she's sort of seducing him in a way, I don't know. It's excessive. It's unnecessary. The only thing it serves to do is build a divide between him and Nathan Lane.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not necessary to the story because there's already this huge divide. He's been trying to kick him out of the house all day, specifically because he's too gay.
Why are you going to Los Copos?
I'm just taking my toothbrush.
That's so Egyptian of you.
And the cattiness of Robin Williams whenever Nathan Lane does have these sort of overdramatic, like stereotypically gay reactions is very irritating to me. It is problematic, and it is indicative of 90s media.
You're but a man and I'm just a woman.
You're not a woman.
You're not a woman. Also, side tangent, at some point, either it's when they're sitting along the bay or driving. I think they're driving because you drive by it. There's a carnival ship in the background. And that is the Carnival Ecstasy, which was next to us at the port in Cozumel on our cruise.
And was just recently retired.
Just went out of service in October of 22.
It was christened by Kathy Lee Gifford in 1991.
Yes, it was. Oh my gosh.
Oh, the 90s.
Did she have her glass of wine? She was like, and I welcome this ship.
She fell in the bay.
What a bad time for cruise lines and gay people. But I like the movie. I don't think it's aged as well, but I don't think you can say that of any 90s queer characters.
No. So with that in mind, on 1 to 5 stars, Anthony, what would you say your rating is?
I would give The Birdcage a 3.5 stars. I think it is a very fun movie. I think I would watch it again. If you guys said, hey, let's watch The Birdcage, I'd watch it at the drop of the hat. I find the characterization of gay people in the film to be problematic, and that is distressing to me. And that is what takes it from a 4 stars to a 3.5 stars, because every little other bit of the film is wonderful. I really enjoy it. I just cannot get over some of the problems it has with its portrayal of its characters, including the son living in a gay community for 20 years and suddenly asking his father to change, not himself.
To be fair, in the 90s when it came out, what was it, 96, 98?
96,
somewhere in there?
I think.
96, I believe, yeah. It was honestly quite progressive of a film for its era. Looking back in today's world, absolutely, completely not a good representation. At the time, it was a better representation than what you could imagine.
And I get that, but I also think it is entirely okay for us to re-examine media
for sure
under a modern eye and scrutinize it a little bit harder.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, no, I totally agree with you. My brain definitely goes back to at that time when it was made. It was very progressive of a film, critical because of how progressive it was. When nowadays, absolutely, yeah, we can criticize how shitty we were back then and how our representation was so ignorant. Well, it still is ignorant today.
The reason why the film is considered progressive is that it portrayed queer characters. Just generally speaking, that it portrayed queer characters in queer culture in any way, shape, or form. But the fact that it did disservice to those people during that time is the real issue that I have with it. Because
for sure, I agree with you.
You're introducing people who may have never interacted with the community to queer people or with queer people in any way, shape, or form to these characters, and you're compartmentalizing them. You're giving them these roles that are going to be such stereotypes. You're reducing them.
Well, that's the
even
90s.
Further than bags of bones. They're just these small little talking points.
The bag of bones is Callista Flockhart.
Would you be afraid of Callista Flockhart?
Cindy, this is Bones.
That very reason, her and the son's character are why I'm giving it 4 stars and not 5, but I'm giving it 4.25 stars out of 5 because of Gene Hackman and drag at the end.
I am giving it a 4.5.
He could have been on Golden Girls in that drag outfit, and I would have believed that he was a woman.
It's funny because years ago, it didn't even faze me when the son was like, you need to tone it down. We need to change things. And now, as a much less internally homophobic person, that scene makes me mad.
It's upsetting to me. I got really mad.
I get weirdly offended now because I'm just like, why the fuck am I supposed to change to make you and your girlfriend's family happy?
Fuck you. If you don't appreciate who I am as a person, then don't bring her here.
Yeah, then let's just not deal with it.
And then because, like, are you going to continue this charade forever? Like, is her family never going to find out you're going to do this forever? How is that feasible?
And they lied about, he lied about the name. He lied about so much.
And her father, as a politician of that caliber, they're going to do background checks on his family before they get married anyway.
Oh, the Coleman Isle de France, and I just never know what our name is until we are staying there. God, she was so amazing.
Well, Anthony, I understand you've made a homebrewed game this week for us.
I have. This is a game I'm calling Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Take me out like a ball gag, more like it.
As you all may know, so many sports and sport-adjacent activities include a ball. And since we've been very ball-heavy this episode, I've concocted a game for Jay and Joe to compete in.
Anthony, this game seems pretty ballsy.
Ooh, well, you're going to have a ball. So, I'm going to name different sports or sport-adjacent activities that are played with a ball of some sort. And you need to explain that sport to me. Badly.
Okay.
I'm going to pick a winner for each activity based on arbitrary factors that are only pertinent to me. Such as, did it make me laugh? Is it compelling? Were testicles involved? Etc. Each round you win earns you a point, and most points at the end of the game gets to pick a movie of their choosing that I will watch before the next episode.
Oh.
Huh.
Okay. Well, we'll let Jay go first. And for number 1, the sport is baseball. Jay, explain baseball to me badly.
You take your wood and you whack a ball as far as you fucking can across a wall. That's your goal.
Okay.
And if you whack it and nobody catches it, you're whacking it real hard, like real fast, real hard, because it's coming at you real fast. You just have to take your wood and whack the fucking shit out of it. And then, okay, so nobody grabs the balls. You're just like, come on, touch my balls, man. And you're running because you have to like run. It's called I think they call a diamond. And so we love diamonds. They sparkle. So what you do is, yeah, you have 3 different points of the diamond that you have to reach. And so after whacking it real hard, you're trying to reach all the diamonds back to your starting point. And if nobody touches your ball and you make it back to the beginning, that's a round. That's a well, if you do it all in one swing, it's a home run. But sometimes you can't make it all the way to a home run. You have to take a little bit longer whacking. Other people have to whack your wood, and then yeah. Your goal is to make it back where you started after whacking your wood.
Okay. Kind of built up there for a minute and fell off at the end, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, I'm making this up as I go, and I'm not good at this.
Joe, explain baseball to me. Badly.
Baseball explained badly. So, in this sport, people think there's only one ball involved, but there's actually more than one ball, and the most important ball is the ball attached to you, especially if there's 2. So you have a plastic device that covers your balls so they're not smacked by the main ball. And just like in my favorite bedroom activity, there's a pitcher and a catcher. But they are kind of far away from each other, so it's not that exciting. But
how did I miss the pitcher and catcher reference? Ah!
When the ball makes contact with the wood that you swing around all willy-nilly, it makes contact and makes that ball go towards all the other boys that are out in the field. And if one of them is so lucky to catch it, you're out in more ways than one. Then you have to go back to the dugout and kiss everyone. And that's baseball.
Okay. That round's going to go to Jay.
Oh.
I'm surprised too.
You did make me laugh a little bit harder. Anyways, Joe, here's your chance to redeem yourself. Joe, explain volleyball to me badly.
This time, your ball is in the sand, but it won't get so itchy as long as you keep it up in the air for everyone else to get their hands on. So, if it gets caught in the net, don't worry, you can still volley it over the net to someone else so they can spike it right back in someone else's face. And then, if you get enough points at the end, you'll be just like in Top Gun, where everyone's shirtless, and then you can see more balls than one. And that's volleyball.
Okay. Jay, explain volleyball to me badly.
All right. So Joe's explanation was a little low hanging. Volleyball
That's a testicle joke.
is where it's a game of juggling one giant ball. Like you are focused on this one ball and you're like whacking it.
Just like you.
Back and forth. Yeah. Like I am pretty much part of this game. And you're just whacking it back and forth. You can do it in the sand, you can do it on wood, but you're just whacking this ball back and forth, and your goal is to get the other people across the net from you to stop whacking that ball because you're like, stop it, that's my fucking ball. And that's volleyball.
Hey, Jay, say whack again.
Whack! Ow. I think I pulled my neck.
I am going to give that one to Joe because there's only so far that specific energy is going to take you in this game. Jay?
What?
It's giving Djibouti dubs.
I want to appeal this vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me reread the point factor to you. I'll pick a winner for each sport based on arbitrary factors that are only pertinent to me.
Listeners, I'm going to... If you'll riot with me, I'll riot. So if you'll...
Send us a voicemail.
Listeners, here's the scoring rubric. I'll pick a winner for each sport based on arbitrary factors that are only pertinent to me.
I believe your rubric is hooey.
Anyways, Jay, explain basketball to me poorly.
Oh, I knew this one was coming.
Think of it this way. You got one gangbang of guys in one color of jersey, and you got another gangbang of guys in another jersey, and you're all after this one ball. And so you keep having to knock it back and forth, and you're trying to get it in the hole. So like you can only whack that ball and bounce it off the ground for a bit. You can't just hold it. That's what kind of sucks about this game. You have to keep whacking it. And then right when you're about to get it in the hole, you have to throw it in the hole. And then if the other team gets it, it goes to the other side because they're trying to get the orange ball in their hole. And so you guys are just trying to see how many times you can get your ball in the hole. And so you're like working with your gangbang buddies and their jerseys and being like, let's get the ball in the hole. I love this hole. This hole's great. But then what's really weird is halftime comes along and then you guys switch holes. So then you have to whack these balls and go to the other hole. So it's kind of weird because, but I like it because the jerseys are mesh and mesh is hot. You can kind of see a lot jiggling. So anyways, basically in summation, two gangbangs are working together but fighting each other to get a ball in the hole.
Hey, Aaron, if you're listening, can you commission a drawing of Jay like this? And it says this speech balloon and it says, whack this ball.
Okay. Joe, explain basketball to me badly.
So, basketball, right? It all begins with an event called the tip-off, and it's where two men stand facing each other very closely and something magical happens. Then, the ball is in play for sure, and everyone's fighting over the one ball because they want to get it in their hole more times. And if they get it from far enough away, it's 3 points. More like 3 men, am I right? 3-some. Then, later on, if it smells a little foul, then it's time for a foul shot. And that's when everyone faces each other again. There's no tip-off this time, but there's still tips involved. And tips are always appreciated. Basketball.
That's Joe again, Jay. I'm sorry.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
No, for sure. That's what's nice about being second in the gangbang is you kind of get some time to think about it. But apparently that's not always true because I fucking lost last time. So anyways.
Joe, explain soccer to me badly.
Oh, this one's great. Soccer. Okay. So there's always a ball in play and it's always getting kicked. Oh my God. Just relentless. Kick, 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 foul kicks, leg kicks. Sometimes even getting headbutted. I mean, if someone really wants to get down there and get down and dirty, they're getting headbutted. Headbutt that ball right into the goal. And there's a whole there's a whole position dedicated to keeping that ball out of the goal. So all that guy does is keep his hands on the ball at all times. He's always just whacking that ball, right, Jay? They're always just kick, 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 kick. And then there's one guy who gets to put his hands all over it. And it's black and white. So it's multiracial. So it's all inclusive. Soccer.
Okay. It is all inclusive. Fantastic. Jay, explain soccer to me poorly.
Okay. So Joe made a really good point that this is a very inclusive, diverse club because the ball represents both black and white. So that's a good starting point. Now, what's really weird about this game, again, you have two different gangbangs. They're all trying to get the ball into their hole. But what's weird about this, don't you fucking yawn whenever I'm talking.
So sorry.
What's weird about this game is you can't touch the ball with your hands. You have to kick it around with your feet, your face, anything, your chest, but your hands. You can't touch it. Now there are two people that get to really fondle them, and they are the ones that are blocking it from getting in the other team's hole because they're like, "No, don't go in this hole. Go in my hole. It's across the field." And they're like, "No." So yeah. So that's what's interesting about this game. But of course, high score wins. So get the diverse ball in your hole.
That's going to Jay. Thank you. I want the diverse ball in my hole. Fantastic. Okay. Jay, explain the game of golf to me badly.
This game, watching it, doesn't really seem that exciting. But when you're playing it, what's so nice about this is that ball is supposed to be the real size of a testicle, allegedly, according to a website, and that seems a little off-putting. So anyways.
I love that.
So, this game's really complicated to describe, because you start off, you really drive that ball to get closer to you're aiming for this little tiny tight hole. Like hundreds of feet away, and you're like looking at this tiny ball in this tiny hole, and you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So first, you have to drive that ball with this really heavy head. You want the heavy head to just whack that ball clear across. Then, as you get closer, you take out your wood. Okay? There's a lot of different angles of wood, though. Like, so you have to kind of guess what angle you want your wood to hit this. And then, when you're about in the hole, you want to putt. It's called a putter. And you're just trying to tap that hole real lightly. And then you get this testicle-sized ball, and you just roll it lightly in the hole, and it goes in. But what really sucks, though, is if you don't get that drive or that wood right, sometimes you do it in sand, which sucks because you never get rid of that sand, and sometimes it goes into like a pond, or you really get into the rough. And your goal this whole game is to keep that little testicle shape in the soft, short grass, because you really want to get that hole on that first shot, but that's rare to do. So it's okay if you have to hit it a few times. It's okay. It's okay. But you're looking for par or less, but don't birdie, eagle, a lot of different terms that I'm pretty sure relate to the gay community that I'm confused about, but hole, testicle, ball.
Okay. Perfect.
Do you get it? You gonna go play golf now?
It's the only sport my father would pay for lessons for. So Anyways, Joe, explain the game of golf to me badly.
So you can play with a partner, or you can go in the big leagues with golf. And you can get a special person that will carry around your sack for you. And in this
Ooh.
sack, not only do you have balls, you have some drivers in there too. Some different clubs, if you will, that will help you get the ball closer to the hole. And like Jake said, you do want to keep the ball out of that tall rough grass. So it is best to go into this sport well groomed, so you can see your ball at all times and to make it look more impressive. And once you get to the green and you get close to that little hole, you get out your putter because it'll make it go in like butter. And once you get closer and you can see the hole, it's not that deep, but that doesn't matter because that guy who's in charge of your sack, he's going to make sure you get that ball in the hole every time by pulling out the plug before you pull it in. Golf.
It's always nice when it has that flag hanging out, so I'm like, that's where I want my ball to be.
Pegging. Right. I got it.
Jay, I thought your explanation was like a little overdone, but it did make me laugh a little more than Joe's.
Is that one of the arbitrary things?
That's one of the arbitrary things.
I love arbitrary when it's in my favor.
Okay. Joe, explain the game of croquet to me badly.
Rich white people knocking around balls with a club going through the stakes so they can, I don't know, get tea sandwiches later and be rich and white. Croquet.
I played this when I was young, and I'm poor.
Oh, my grandparents used to have a croquet set in the garage we'd play with just for fun, but it wasn't nearly as sexual as I would have liked it to be. I don't know. Mulligan.
Okay. Jay, go ahead and explain the game of croquet to me badly to get rid of that image of
Joe's grandma.
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
So this one's interesting because it's either rich people or poors trying to be rich. And basically you just throw your wood around for a bit and just hammer a ball around. That's kind of it. Croquet.
Well, Jay, I think we both explained it badly. Really, really, really badly.
I'm giving it to Joe because I was most disgusted by his answer.
Sympathy point.
Rightfully so.
I'll take it.
Okay. The very last one. This is it. For all the marbles, we are currently tied, actually. Yeah. You guys both have 3. There are only 7. Jay, explain the game of bocce ball to me badly.
Oh, God. All right. Bocce ball. So, do you know when you're hanging out with a group of guys and there's just one bottom that's like, that's the prime bottom. Like, we're all going to rock that. Okay, so bocce ball. There's one... What's kind of annoying about this one is it's very old-fashioned because we're after one white ball, which I feel like we could kind of diversify that these days. But anyways, there's one white ball, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to knock out all of the other balls around you. You're like, get out of here, balls. That's my ball that I want to just right close to me. So your goal is to knock away your competitive balls to get right up to that ball you really want.
Okay.
And you're gonna love that ball when you get there. Like that, right there, real close. And that's bocce ball.
Okay, Joe, explain the game of bocce ball to me badly.
First of all, get away from me balls is never something I'll say. So, bocce ball. Much like Jay, there's one white ball, right? So I'm setting the stage for you.
Oh, it sucks. Joe won.
So you throw that ball out into a field just like Jay always does. And then you and your partner take your own balls out. There's 2 apiece, you know, like a majority of us. Sorry, Jay. But then you're throwing your balls out there into the field to get as close to Jay's ball as you can. And the closer you get to that ball, the closer you are to victory. Ball-induced victory, which is the best victory of all. Bocce ball.
Oh my God. Okay, well, you guys, This was a fun round of Take Me Out to the Ball game, and I appreciate you both participating. And the winner of this game is Joe.
Yes!
Surprise.
So, Jay, you lost this one, just like you lost that one.
Oh, don't say it.
Oh, I already said it.
I'm just so used to losing things that relate to balls that I expected to lose this game. So it's fine. I won't judge. I'll always be lesser than everyone else with just one ball.
Really went balls out on that game.
Listeners, I need you to vote for who you actually think won this game, because it was probably me. But it's fine.
Send us a voicemail.
Yeah, tell us in a voicemail.
So, Joe, you win, and you get to pick a movie for me to watch before the next episode. What would you like me to watch?
The biggest challenge is going to be finding a movie that you haven't watched yet.
There's a lot of them. There's plenty of them.
I know. I just got to think about them.
Oh, yeah, The Birdcage.
I am kind of curious. Do you have an idea of what movie you want me to watch?
Oh my god, I should make him watch like a Mary-Kate and Ashley videotape or something.
Titanic!
I've seen Titanic.
Mary-Kate and Ashley Ultimate Awesome Sleepover.
Have you ever seen She-Devil with Roseanne and Meryl Streep?
Or like a Hallmark Christmas movie or something. I'll think of something really good. And listeners, if you think of something, email us.
Yes, help us.
Well, another game in the books, and I think I hear the music kicking back on.
The music's back on.
Well, it is time for us to go, but go call our hotline and leave us a voicemail to open the next episode with. The number is 405-999-2242. Again, that number is 405-999-2242.
Just leave a voicemail, damn it.
And just like a sweaty ball sack on a warm day, we are so thrilled that you guys have stuck around. If you want to help us out, go and subscribe to our podcast so you can get reminders every Sunday when we release a new episode. We also post frequent updates on our socials for any additional things that we add to the market.
And don't forget to rate us 5 stars and leave a review. We'd love to hear from you. Those ratings are what get us found by more people, and we would be honored if you could help us grow by doing that simple task. Just each of you telling one friend to listen will double our growth.
And if you guys want to be bally or ballsy, make sure you follow us on our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, @beards_sundries. That's really hard to think about. And on TikTok, where we seem to get our best followers. So make all the comments you want on there. Please comment, make suggestions. We want to hear from you. We love that. Email us at beardsandsundries@gmail.com.
So, from all of us here at Beards and Sundries, we want you to leave a voicemail and, more importantly,
Love yourself.
Because we already love your balls. Oh, and you too.
Bye, balls, and bye, guys. We love your balls.